How can you fix your organization in just 9 steps? Many organizations believe they're in a mess. They also believe their culture actively resists any attempt to change it. These are symptoms pointing to a deeper underlying cause. The root of the problem is they focus on what they hope to transform into tomorrow rather than improving things today. So let's look at how to address this deeper problem with the help of a power map. We start with a vertical axis describing the firm's value chain, the activities and practices it performs to create value for its customers and other users. We also have a horizontal axis describing how things are changing in the wider industry, what we call evolution. Combining these 2 axes gives us a power map. Now we have an effective tool for seeing what's going on in a competitive environment and understanding how it's changing. From this, we can create effective responses. Power maps are based on Wardley maps. They are used to identify opportunities, reduce waste, and create real strategy. In this video, we will use power maps to show how to reduce the waste that many organizations blindly carry. The first step is to focus on user needs. Now, this doesn't need to be perfect, but it does have to be done. Start by asking different users what they want, and then agree what you need to do to satisfy these needs. Step 2 is to think small, as in knowing the details. Meeting the needs of others doesn't happen by magic. There's an underlying chain of needs that must be completed. Knowing these is a good thing. Step 3 is to remove duplication. Don't reinvent the wheel for the 100th time. It's likely the components you need are already in the organization. Compare multiple maps to identify duplicated efforts, remove them, and prevent duplication from building up again. Duplication is one of the biggest sources of waste in organizations. As a rule of thumb, if you're an organization of a certain size, then any technology you're using is likely to be duplicated 6 times throughout the organization. And unfortunately, this is the best case scenario. It's not uncommon for systems to be duplicated dozens or even hundreds of times. It is estimated that 90% of IT spend globally is duplication. Any digital transformation which doesn't start with removing past duplication will only make your situation worse. Step 4 is to challenge bias. It is common for people to try and improve current processes without challenging whether those processes are needed in the first place. They don't do this because of lack of intelligence. They do it because they're trying to make improvements while operating blindly and without context. They can't see the wider landscape as they have no maps. Once you have your map, you can focus on doing the right thing, the red line, before doing the thing right, the blue line. Step 5 is to think small again, but this time concentrating on the contracts that you're signing. You want to increase transparency. Yes, breaking current activities into smaller contracts creates more interfaces, but these exist anyway. You don't want to launch yet another expensive Death Star project. Don't be seduced by a project that promises the world but fails to deliver. It may look easier to try and solve all of your problems by bundling them together into one large project, but in reality, you're mixing different types of components. One size does not fit all. Components on the right-hand side of the map are highly involved. You know what they're for and how they work. You have a lot of certainty about them. Components on the left, however, are still evolving and will continually change. If you have a one-size-fits-all project, you'll be constantly forced to pay excessive change control costs. Thinking small will enable you to avoid this completely unnecessary waste. You need to use the appropriate methods for the problem at hand. There is no magic tool. Doing things in-house with agile methods is great for the uncharted components on the left, as this will reduce the costs of constant change. Outsourcing industrialized components, or applying Six Sigma on the right-hand side of the map, works best, as your focus here is on reducing deviation in performance. And something like Lean, or using commercial off-the-shelf products, works best for components in the middle of the map. Here's the key point. Just because a method works well in one part of the organization doesn't mean it will work well everywhere. You need to use multiple methods, and you'll use a map to determine which method you should use where. There's no magic size fits all for procurement either. You invest in uncharted components on the left, like you're a VC firm, or pay for time and materials. For industrialized components on the right, you're best off paying utility charges, something like pay for what you use, whilst components in the middle are best paid for by results or fixed prices to minimize the risk of waste. You need to use the appropriate method for procurement if you don't want to overspend and waste resources. Step 7 is think small in terms of teams. Now that you've broken down your operations into smaller contracts and using appropriate methods, you can start to create small teams or cells. One benefit is a rapid response to customer needs. For example, when customer needs change, Team 1, who are closest to them, can inform other non-client-facing teams how they must respond. The result is a highly adaptive organization which responds to change in real time. You can now start to overcome your perceived cultural problems by recognizing there is no one-size-fits-all in organizational culture. You need multiple cultures to meet the different types of challenges you have and utilize the different skills of your people. Your organizational structure needs to be constantly evolving in order to adapt to a changing world more effectively. This doesn't happen by launching a big-budget, high-risk, disruptive, large-scale transformation every couple of years. It occurs by following these modest 9 steps. Quickly and inexpensively, you will have created a structure that is constantly evolving in response to a changing world. These are the 14 operating principles you need to master in order to fix your organization. The best place to start is by getting the principles in Phase 1 right first, which can be done in a matter of weeks. So if you'd like to discover what you need to do to start fixing your organization today, go to powermaps.net and see what we can do for you.